Typecast Heroes, where we believe typology can save the world. I'm Amanda Fogelson.
And I'm Jessie Miller, and today we are going to be talking about our series with each of the cognitive functions and all of the positions. So today we are doing Hero SI, or Hero Introverted Sensing, and that is for the ESFJs and the ESTJs. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have tons of resources for you on it to know all of the things about all of the functions, all of the types, and what your cognitive stack is. So you can go hop over there and you can check out all of our playlists if you have questions about any of the things that we talk about today.
As we always say in the beginning of every video, anyone can be anything. However, in this particular series, we are really wanting to focus on the consistencies, the behavioral consistencies that we see between the types who are using SI as their parent function. And what that might look like is us talking about the behaviors and giving you examples of different situations. But the main takeaway from the video would be the motivation behind the behavior. So why are they doing what they're doing? What's going on in their head when they're doing what they're doing? That's really where you're able to see the difference between the functions, which is what we're wanting you all to see.
So last disclaimer, every type can have what's called an ideal type average. So if you are an ESTJ or an ESFJ and you don't relate to something that we say, that does not mean that you are not that type. Or if you do relate, it doesn't mean that you are this type. So the important thing to remember is every type has a way that they typically develop. However, there are several things in life that can knock you off that track. It's called an ideal type average for a reason. Personality types don't change, they evolve. So if you're younger, you may not have encountered these particular troubles. If you're a little bit older, you may have already overcome all of this. So keep all of that in mind as we go throughout this video. So first thing, the parent function. Parent functions are what we call the compulsive function. So it's where you get your should statements, because ESFJs and ESTJs are naturally extroverted, right? So they don't want to be introverted. They don't want to have to do the introspective process. But that's why introverted sensing as their parent is meant to balance them. So they have extroverted judging functions, and then they have an introverted perceiving one to make them a balanced human. And we have videos on all of the things I just said if you are curious about what that means. Now, introverted sensing is when you have a particular lens or framework through which you see the world that you have built by your experience. So what you've read, what you've studied, what you've gone through, or any of your physical, concrete life experiences. And you are running all of the things that you are currently experiencing through that framework. However, ESFJs and ESTJs, because they are so action-based, again, they are extroverted and they're extroverted judgers at that, which means they want to do all of the things. They want to get all of the things done. And they don't want to listen all the time, especially if they're young, to their introverted sensing function. And that is why it's important today to talk about the behaviors and talk about some of the pitfalls that you can encounter if you don't develop your parent. So the parent function, because it wants to balance the user, it's the function that we develop in order to become a more equal person when we are interacting with the world, because you can't be all extroverted. You have to be introverted at times. It takes on a sort of responsible archetype in your mind. So it makes you want to be responsible and nurturing to yourself. It's like constantly parenting your extroverted judging function. So that means when you look at others, this is the function you tend to rely on, because this is the position that it takes in your own head or your own mind and mental processes. So when you are parenting someone, if there's somebody that you care about, that you nurture, that you love, this is how you would tend to want to show that. So a parent SI would look like nurturing others to have positive experiences, nurturing others and encouraging them to want to have lots of information to pull on. It's when you are encouraging them to look inside themselves and build up their own function. Now that's a healthy parent SI. It can also mean that it makes the person want to be overly critical of someone with their own experience. So an ESXJ, ESFJ, ESTJ may want to parent somebody or lecture them on something because whatever that person is going through does not match the ESXJ's experience. So that's a negative way that can present. One of the things that it is good for with the ESXJ is that it can keep them from looping into their extroverted intuition. So because again, they're extroverted, right? They want to stay extroverted. And their third function is extroverted intuition. Now, as much as Amanda might tell you that it's good to use extroverted intuition all of the time, it can make them, in ESTJ or ESFJ, very unable to orient themselves in reality. Because they'll go from doing all of the actions and then they'll jump into all of the possibilities of their actions. And then they're not pulling back to, hey, remember last time we did this? That wasn't so awesome. Or remember that we have to be here at this time. Or remember last time we planned for this activity, it took an hour. Why are you saying it's only going to take 5 minutes? Consistency is important to the introverted sensing parent. It wants to make sure that people stay mindful of their duties, their responsibilities, and of the experiences that they've had in the past. So they are very duty and honor bound. They understand responsibility if they've developed that parent function. If they haven't, what tends to happen is that loop that I just mentioned. They'll go from their extroverted judging into extroverted intuition. This can be very dangerous for them because they are not relying enough on what they should be doing, which is why we say that the parent function gives you your should statements, because it keeps you aligned with your schedule and with your responsibilities and with your beliefs. So when somebody who has a healthy parent SI is trying to nurture or encourage somebody else, they encourage people to follow the plan. They encourage them to stay disciplined. They encourage them to stay true to who that person is. But again, you have to watch out for the unhealthy parent SI, which is overly critical and overly examines the experiences of others against the user.
Or becomes naggy, like a parent can.
The other thing that you have to worry about with the parent function is you have a tendency to project it onto others. So because it takes a parent position in you, if you see it in somebody, you may automatically assume that they're using their introverted sensing process, which means you think that they are being true to their duties, their experiences, that they're showing loyalty, or that they understand how to have a schedule. Unfortunately, when you are projecting, you're not seeing that person as they are, and so that means that you may be a little less critical or use a little less critical thinking, rather, when that person is engaging with you. And that can make it so that you don't see them, and you can get yourself into bad situations that way. So it's important to understand, if you have a parent SI, that you have a tendency to project this onto people that are in leadership positions or somebody that you just respect. And that can be a very hardcore downfall for you. So society needs a healthy auxiliary or parent introverted sensing, because we need people to keep us on schedule. We need people to remind us to be true to our own experiences. We need people to encourage us to be disciplined and to have duty and to understand what our duties are. So Amanda, how do we get there?
By not skipping over this function. That is the number one advice, that even in like a personal growth setting, so aside from understanding others and your relationship with others, but growth within yourself, to be the best you that you can be and to be the most balanced you that you can be. If you skip over the parent function, if any type does, but specifically since we're talking about SI in the parent function, if you skip over that, it's easy and it's fun because you do want to stay extroverted. It's not fun to internalize things or to introspect at all, but it is necessary. And just like a parent, like I said before, if they're nagging you, just like a parent, this function does the exact same thing. So my advice is to just lean into it. Don't avoid it. Don't ignore it. Don't write it off. There is a time and place to skip to your child function, to your extroverted intuition, and Jesse's right, I absolutely love it. But there's also a time where SI is so needed. And if you look at we have ESFJ and ESTJ people in our lives, and one of the first things that I think of like these healthy human beings that that I am friends with, is that they are structured. They have a structure that I can only dream of, honestly, and I do very often dream of the structure that they are able to create, and it's because they are balanced, they are healthy, and they have leaned into that. And it's really, really cool to be able to watch them still be able to experience all the things, still be extroverted, and they can even be spontaneous, and they can be outgoing and all of those things while still kind of living in a structured life. And
Adulting.
yes,
Being good at
I
adulting.
know I was trying to avoid using that, but that's just what it is. And it's just like, it's one of those things with SI inferior man, I look to you guys like, I wish I could just like bow down to you a little bit, but
We hope you like this video because being human is hard.
and this should hopefully make it just a little bit easier.
Thank you for watching, and Amanda's going to tell you what to do.
Like, subscribe, comment, and share. We are on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, and Discord, and of course YouTube. So please, if you are an ESFJ or an ESTJ and you have not done the interview process, please comment below or message us on Instagram or Facebook, and Jesse will get back to you.
Or Discord.
Or Discord,
My username
or
is
Reddit, any of them. Also, if you don't know what interview I'm even talking about, then go watch our very first video, which is Welcome to Typecast Heroes, and you'll get to learn all the things.
See you next time.
Bye.
Let's gather around the type fire and sing our type fire song. Our MBTITYPOLOGY song. And if you feel uncomfortable, then know there's nothing wrong.